Greetings and welcome to Chant a Psalm a Day. This psalm today is 22. It's a question. The psalm today is a question. And sometimes in life we have questions. We want to know. We want to know why this is this way, why that is that way. I even, question why did my son have to pass? Why did, this have to happen? Why couldn't he be saved? Why? It's all of these whys. I even found some coral shells that are shaped in the letter Y. I have three of them in my headquarter office in the Virgin Islands on St. John. And I have them because it's questions that we have. We may have questions why this is happening, why this is so, why didn't this person do that, why did this person do that, why. So in the psalm today, Psalm 22, it is asking a question: why have you forsaken me? And I don't use me, I use I and I. All of I and I is included. So this psalm is to the choir master according to the Doe of the Dawn, a psalm of David. So I have my roasted roots tea. Okay, that's powerfully strengthening and giving me the strength that I need to bust the gas. It has lemon, squeeze of lemon in it, which reduces the stomach fat in your stomach, and it kind of shrinks it. The acid in the lemon and the hot water act together to bust it. So join me later on for my yoga, and I'm gonna show you how to stretch your body so you're not stiff in the shoulders and stiff. So anyway, we're looking at the psalm today, 22. 22 psalm is right before Psalm 23, and a couple psalms before Psalm 27. And Psalm 27 we did twice this month. So not go back, but go to my channel and look at Psalm 27, listen to it. A couple psalms make me weep. It's just so powerful. So I am crying in a couple of those psalms, chant a psalm a day, because I love the Lord, and I love what the words of the Lord bring to me. That powerful comforter. I'm going through things in my life you wouldn't even realize what I'm going through because I'm so comforted by the Most High. So I ask that my words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart are acceptable in the sight of the Most High. It may not be acceptable to you out there, but I'm asking that it's acceptable to that higher power that is above, that we seek for what is above, not for what is below. And being separate from the flesh is being present with the Most High. Being separate from the flesh is not having to die to leave the flesh, but you can leave the flesh by sacrificing different things that the flesh, wants. And there's a list of things. People know I've said it before on this channel. So we have to forsake that is our flesh and ride off of the wind of righteousness, because that is what created the universe, that hovering of that spirit I call it that righteousness, that goodness and mercy to give life to human beings and give them a earth in where they can live and grow and flourish and be kind. So let's dive into Psalm 22. My God, why have you forsaken me? Why are you so far from saving me from the words of my groaning? So this happened to me yesterday. My mom is in the hospital. I called the hospital, and listening to her, she doesn't sound the same. It really, got me, like I went deep into a prayer because I want that saving grace of righteousness and the Most High's love to hover over her and anyone else that's in the hospital or suffering from, physical illness, that they are comforted during this time. Um, and they are healed. Yesterday, the word was healing. So I sent out healing for my mom and for all my, family members, for my friends, even for my enemies and foes. I sent out healing. We have to, love the ones that don't love us. We have to love. We have to be that example, in other words. I'm not saying to crawl behind someone and they don't love you and keep on crawling behind them. No, sometimes you have to love from a distance and you have to separate yourself and love from a distance, but that love is still there. You do not want to have hate in your heart, or jealousy and envy and strife in your heart. You want to release that so your heart is light and free, and open to receive the grace and the glory that is of the Most High. That you're going to receive that once your heart is light and free from all the different traps of human frailty. I like to speak of it as it's frailty. You're human. You have human, frailty. That's why the Son of God came to be in that human form, so that we could have an advocate. That someone knows how it is to be human, so we have to trust that. So when we look at verse 1 in this Psalm 22, verse 1, it's as if it's a plea. I don't know if it's a rhetorical question, because God does not forsake anyone. It's a question meaning rhetorical. And it's twice in verse 1, God is being spoken, my God, my God. So twice, why have you forsaken me? Why are you so far from saving me from the words of I and I groaning? So David in the first verse is asking a question and explaining this is what is happening to him. He's groaning. The words of his mouth is not being heard by the Most High. He's like, wait a minute, why are you so far from saving me? I need saving. Come and rescue me now. Like, what's happening? And then in verse 2, it still starts with my God. And then it speaks of, I cry by day. However, the Most High does not answer. And through the night, and I find no rest. So this is serious. David is like, I'm crying all day. This is a big grown man now, everyone. He's crying all day and he does not hear an answer. Even at night, he's not resting in his bed. Like I always ask, how did you rest? We ask each other that. How did you rest? Oh, I rested so good. Oh my goodness, I had the best rest ever. But this is not happening for David. He is finding no rest. Okay, he's crying during the day and he doesn't hear an answer. And at night, he doesn't find any rest. So what is happening? Let's go into verse 3. And David, even though all this is happening, he says, yet the Most High is Ilah. Ilah meaning happy, loving, kind, generous, just the bomb.com, right? This is the Most High. And David is acknowledging it. Yet the Most High is happy and Ilah, enthroned on chanting of I and I. So the Most High is enthroned on the praises of Israel, it speaks of. And I translate that to the chanting of I and I. So when all of I and I are gathered together, chanting a song of adulation and adoration and chanting glory to the Most High, that is where the Most High is enthroned. So picture it like there's a big throne and underneath is all these individuals chanting and lifting up the Most High, the adulation and adoration of that one that is the power of the universe. So this is what David is explaining, that Even though he's crying all day, he can't rest at night, the Most High is happy, and the Most High is enthroned on these Isis, what one's called praises. I call the heights of glory of I and I. Okay, remember the Bible was written for nation building, because colonialism and capitalism came together and had a child called white supremacy, and they encroach themselves in religion, education, healthcare, housing, cars. They encroach themselves in all of these areas of life. And it's my duty to translate in the words of liberation, the words of free, the words that are going to build a solid relationship with the Most High, and not just, God is over here and I am not part of it. Yes, you are part of the righteousness and goodness of the Most High. You are part of it. But how it was written to make you part of the battery of this, nefarious system. You're just a battery pumping the system. And then you die and go to heaven, and that's the end of it. That's what we are taught. However, we have to live now in the present moment and know that we have an advocate. And this advocate is enthroned on the praises of I and I, on the Isis of I and I. So all over the earth, ones are chanting Isis to the Most High. They're in churches, they're in synagogues, they're in, I don't like the word synagogues because I have a sin. And, Satan kind of finds his way in the church, okay, seated on the throne in the Vatican City, the Catholic Church. I just saw a documentary about the Catholic Church ordaining the enslavement of Africans. They sanctioned it. They said, go ahead and take these folks because they are, they don't mean nothing. So we look at how the scripture is set up, in that it does not liberate the readers. It doesn't liberate us. It keeps us in bondage. So I take the shackles off and I remove the shackles, and I can see my Most High, that relationship I have. So in verse 4, it speaks of in you, in the Most High, our fathers and mothers trusted. Our fathers and mothers trusted, and the Most High delivered our fathers and mothers. So this is a direct example of how the Most High is the deliverer of I and I, delivers I and I out of bondage. Okay. So in verse 5, to the Most High, our fathers and mothers cried and were rescued. And in the Most High, our fathers and mothers trusted and were not put to shame. So in my communication to God, I am asking that He opens the hearts of those who are suffering to the joy and glory of the Most High, of that one that is a healer and a comforter. Open yourself up to that, please, because folks can speak to God on your behalf, all day, all night long, but you cannot bring a horse to water and make it drink. So I can speak to God on your behalf, but you have to make that move. You gotta put some skin in the game. Okay, you got to be part of this. So I plead to everyone out there who are suffering from depression, anxiety, suicidal ideations. I need you to open up your heart. And this is how you're going to do it: by journaling, writing down what's in your heart. Okay. Art is another healing activity. Get some paints and watercolors, a coloring book or something, and start coloring. Get yourself realigned with your Savior that is there for you, that's given you all that you need. So all you need now is to give of the knowledge in your actions and doing these things, eating the right food, exercising your body, stretching out. All of this is part of that relationship you are building with the Most High. So, don't try to get your body tight and nice for someone on this earth. Get it tight and nice for the Most High. Okay? So, that's what I do. I am trying to build this vessel, to restructure my vessel into a vessel that the Most High wants to dwell inside of. He's like, oh, I want to go in. I want to dwell in there. It's clean and it's nice, So we look at this verse 5, and David is speaking of that the crying is to the Most High. And the fathers and mothers, they cry to the Most High. Back in the day, that's who people trusted really big time, until the world started getting modernized and, all these different gadgets were put in our faces. And now we trust in the phone. We trust in all of this stuff, all this technology, right? So we've kind of moved away from trusting the Most High. So David is specifically talking about our fathers and mothers. They trusted and they were rescued. They were delivered. They weren't put to shame. So we need to trust as well. Stop trusting in things that are illusions. So in verse 6, David specifically describes himself as a worm. But I am a worm and not a man, scorned by mankind and despised by the people. So David is putting himself in a victim situation, that he is just a worm. And if you look at the worm, it's the same shape as a sperm. Sperm and a worm, it looks, has that same shape. And David is describing himself as this: I'm a worm and not a man. Because he's been scorned by mankind. He's been looked down upon. He's been despised by folks. People jealous of David. They envious of David, talking about he thinks he's above everyone else. This is what's happening. When you talk about you think somebody's above someone else, is because you feel that they have something you don't have. And that's where jealousy is birthed. So don't feel someone is above you. No one is above you, and you're not above anyone else. We're all equal in the sight of the Most High. So we have to move with that in our minds, that no one is above us and we're not above anyone else. Just because I have a PhD, I got 5 degrees, don't mean I know everything and I'm above anyone else. I am the most humble person you can find, because I do not hold that as status. God doesn't look at your degrees and you're going to get into the kingdom because you got 5 degrees. No. What are you doing with them? Are you helping the community? Are you helping children and families? What are you doing? Are you just living for yourself? I have folks who out there taking care of their nephews, their parents passed away, and they're taking care of their nephews. I know folks who has adopted babies. They can't have babies of their own, and they've adopted and taken in other people's children as their own. So, we look at this and we have to really humble ourselves. We are not an island. No man is an island on its own. Everything you do affects everyone else. So think of that. Think of how David is feeling in this moment in verse 6, that he is just a worm. He's not even a man. He's scorned by folks, people jealous. So in verse 7 now, he gets even more specific. All who see me mock me. They make mouths at me. They wag their heads like, child. You know, they're scorned, they're mocking him. Their mouths are talking behind his back. This is what folks do. Instead of helping, they're going to talk behind your back. Instead of saying, you know what, let me help you. You're doing this business for children and family. I'm going to help you. No, people talk behind your back. Sit there and talk behind your back constantly. It's like, wait a minute. And then they're wagging their heads according to the Psalm. They shaking their heads like she thinks she too good. She thinks she know it. She thinks she this. She thinks she that. She thinks she's above everyone else and she can't get corrected. Yeah, I love to get corrected. But I'm going to look at the source who's correcting me. And if the source is correcting me, ain't correcting themselves, taking that beam out their own eye, don't come to me. You better take that beam out your own eye before you come telling somebody they got a beam in their eye. Always look at yourself first. I told this to my son just yesterday, the one that's alive, that as I talked to my son that passed away, I talked to him. But the one I'm talking about is the one that's alive. And you do things that come back at you and don't realize it. You know, people think people can put magic on you and do voodoo and do all kinds of stuff to you. Nobody can do nothing to you that you don't want them to do. When you put your hands in evil, that's what you're going to reap. You're going to reap what you sow. So sow good seeds. Sow good seeds. You know, that's what you sow. If you don't like someone, you come up on someone, don't go hurt the person. Talk to the person, communicate, say, look, bro, you know, I didn't like what you da-da-da. And you know, talk like a mature person. 2-year-olds does tantrums and throws tantrums. That's what 2-year-olds do. I work with 2-year-olds. I know. So as an adult, you can be an adult but still be immature as a child and having grown in your age. People is 35 years old and still act like they're 10. People is 55 years old and still act like they're 3. So age is a number, and it's a number in terms of just that. You could be on this earth for 100 years and still you don't learn. I don't want to be that. I don't want to be here all these years and don't know what my purpose is. And I don't want to be here all these years and I don't have a career. I don't have something that I enjoy doing and that makes me feel fulfilled and my fullest potential. I want to achieve my fullest potential. I'm not going to apologize for that. For other folks who are in jobs they are unhappy in, that's you. You created that world for yourself. I'm creating a different world for myself. So if I have to sacrifice being home in my island where it's beautiful and the beach is there, I'm going to have to sacrifice something to get a bigger thing. So David is really expressing something in this psalm, okay? Because people are talking about David behind his back. They're shaking their heads at him and saying, he's not gonna succeed. What is he doing? Shaking their head. They're mocking him. But then in verse 8, David says, he trusts in the Lord. Let him deliver him. This is what not David is saying, but folks are saying, oh, she trusting in Rastafari, or she trusting in Jesus, or she trusting in Jehovah, she trusting in Allah, she trusting in the beneficent, the merciful God. She trusting in that. Let that deliver her. Let that rescue her. For she delights, or David delights in God. So the people who are mocking David, talking about David, wagging their heads against David, is telling David, okay, you trust in the Lord, let the Lord deliver you then. Let the Lord rescue you then, for you delight in the Lord. This is exclamation mark quotations that's coming from the mockers, the scorners. They're the ones telling David this. You trust in the Lord? Go ahead, let the Lord deliver you then. So in verse 9, David is responding to the mockers. David is like, yeah, you are. And he's still talking about the Most High. He's like, the Most High is who took me from the womb. David is telling them. David is like, the Most High, God, the Lord, the Almighty, took me from the womb and made I trust the Most High at my mother's breast. So David is like shooting words right forward to these folks. The Most High is who took I from my mother's womb, formed me in my mother's womb, and made me to trust the Most High while I was on my mother's breast. You's an innocent baby. You have no one but the Most High and the adults that's supposed to care for you. And some folks out there molesting babies. They abusing babies. They killing babies when they're born. They sacrificing them and putting them on an altar and killing them. This is what's happening. It's called infanticide. Infanticide is when babies are murdered. Okay? It's a real thing. So this verse 9, David is like, even when I'm on my mother's breast, I trusted in you. You took me from the womb. Okay? That's why when somebody has a birthday, it's not that person who gave birth to themselves. It's the mother and the God Almighty who made that to happen. That's who you acknowledge. When you have a birthday, thank God. Thank God, Lord, God, Jesus, Jehovah, Selassie the First, the Almighty, power of the Trinity. That's who we have to acknowledge, not the person. The person couldn't be a person having a birthday without that. You all are messed up out there. That's where the relationship with God gets cut off, because you're doing things that is in opposition of the glory of this one. You're putting that glory onto yourself, like Satan did when he was casted out of the heavenly place, because he wanted all the attention on him. He wanted the praise on him. I don't want praise for me. When I do something, a kind act, that's because of the Most High. I acknowledge that. That's because of the Most High. Not me, myself. I have goodness and mercy and kindness because of what that one gave to me and made me in that image. So that image is goodness and kindness, and that is what I have to do in my life. I may get upset at folks, but I'm not going to go do magic and take a doll and put pins in it and do something to the person. No, leave them at the foot of the cross. That's who going to deal with them more than what any magic you can think of or spells. Someone asked me if I know how to put spells on folks. What? Spells? You already having spells put on you with the words coming out your mouth. And the language you're speaking, this English language, is messed up. So you already putting spells on yourself by talking stuff about yourself. Oh, I can't do this. Oh, I'm not smart enough. Oh, I'm not. You're already doing it. So ain't nobody can put nothing on you but yourself. So, when it comes to the Psalm and David, it is powerful what we are looking at, because this verse 9, verse 10, and verse 11 is specifically talking about being born, being birthed in the womb. So verse 9, yet you are he who took me from the womb. Who is he? The Most High. You made me trust you at my mother's breast. Who is you? The Most High. On you was I cast from my birth, and from my mother's womb you have been my God. Hallelujah. You have been my God. So from my mother's womb. And that's why I told folks, don't mess with a woman who knows about God. Don't mess with a woman who gets on her knees and speaks to God. Do not. I'm telling you, you're messing with fire and you're going to get burned. So, from my mother's womb, the Most High has been with me. And that is directly related to being made in the image of the Most High. So when I see a stranger, I'm looking at God. I'm looking at an image of God, rather. Okay? When I see someone, I'm looking at the image of God. They were made in the God's image. Beautiful people. You know, human beings are beautiful. Looking at their different, faces and their different, the way God made their noses and their mouths and their eyes and, their ears. The way God made a person is beautiful. So I look at everyone as that until their actions show me who they are. And Maya Angelou said it. When someone show you who they are, believe them. Okay? So in verse 11, David is speaking now, and he speaks of, be not far from me, from I and I, for trouble is near, and there is none to help. So this is powerful in itself right here. David begins this psalm talking about, why have you forsaken me? And then in verse 11, he's like, be not far from me, for trouble is near and there is none to help. So he is making a plea. He's making a plea. And this plea he's making is directly related to the first verse of this psalm. Why have you forsaken me? And David speaks it again. Be not far from me. I know I asked the question, why have you forsaken me? But now I'm telling you, be not far from me, because trouble is near. Trouble is around the corner, right? People are calling the police on their relatives instead of communicating with them. People are fighting. There's domestic violence. Women are beating up men. That happens. Men are beating up women. Men and women are abusing children. People are abusing dogs. They're leaving dogs out in the cold. Stuff is happening. So because there's none to help, David is asking not to be far from him because trouble is near. These are troubles. And in the world today, the troubles are different than they were years ago, right? However, there are still troubles. And David speaks of these troubles in specific ways in verse 12 and 13. Many bulls encompass me. Strong bulls of Bashan surround me. They open wide their mouths at me like a ravening and roaring beast. So David is specifically speaking of what this trouble looks like. It's encompassing, meaning it's surrounding him. And these are strong troubles. He's describing them as bulls, okay? Bulls of Bashan. And they're opening their mouths wide at David, and they're as a ravening and roaring, beasts. They're about to ravage, and they're roaring at David. Remember, David is the one who fought Goliath with a string, and busted him with a slingshot one time. Okay. So, but David had to pick that slingshot up and do that, right? So that's what I just spoke about. You have to take that step to the Most High. You have to build that relationship with the Most High. You have to do that. The Most High is there. You have to come to the Most. Jesus said, follow me. Leave your mother, your father, your sister, your brother's house, all of this stuff, and follow me. Even when they were burying, one of the disciples was like, oh, Jesus, I got to bury my uncle. He passed. Jesus was like, really? Let the dead bury the dead. You living, you better come live. So when we look at the psalm and the example that David is giving of these strong bulls, it's in verse 14 that David really gets into the meat of this psalm. I am poured out like water, as water, and all my bones are out of joint. My heart is as wax. What is wax? Is melting. And my heart is melted within my breasts. My strength is dried up as a potsherd, and my tongue sticks to my jaws. Like you're just frozen. You lay me in the dust of death. Fire. So David is speaking of the Most High doing this to him. He's not talking about Peter down the road doing witchcraft or magic. He's talking about the Most High. You lay me in the dust of death. So when you find yourself in situations, stop blaming somebody else for doing something to you. They did magic on you or did something to you. Stop blaming that. Look at yourself. What is it that you're doing or not doing that's bringing you to this point in your life? To be poured out like water. You're nothing. You're just out of joint. Your heart is melting inside of you. Your strength is all dried up and your tongue sticks to your jaws and you're just like, ah. And in verse 16, David keeps on about dogs. The dogs is surrounding him. A company of evildoers encircles him. They pierced his hands and feet. Doesn't this remind you of Jesus? They pierced his hands and his feet. This is serious. Okay. In verse 17, I can count all my bones. David is speaking of. He's starving. And ones are staring and they gloating over him. They divide his garments among them, and for his clothing they cast lots. So this is directly related to what happened to Jesus in the crucifixion. And then in verse 19, David, gets himself together and he's like, but you, oh God, oh Lord, oh Jah, oh Jehovah, Selassie the First, Rastafari, head creator, that's your personal relationship with the Most High, with the name you want to call. Stop following folks and follow God, the Most High, and find that relationship so you can be revealed a name of the Most High. Okay? Papa Boje. That's what my mom calls. They grew up speaking French. And Papa Boje. Boje means God. Father God. So that's your relationship. Okay. Even when I go to churches, and I love to go to different churches and hear the word and listen to the glorification of the Most High in songs, I still call on that name that's personal to me and that relationship I have. I am not going to follow the crowd. I've always been that from a little child. The crowd's going that way, I go the other way. I'm like, everybody's going on the swings, I'm going to go on the slide, that type of thing. So I've always been picked by the Most High from since I knew myself. So I'm not speaking that to say I'm better than nobody else, so don't go trying to twist myself up here. I'm not better than no one else. I'm just passionate. I'm passionate, and I am very assured about, love and kindness. That's what I advocate for. As a lifelong learner, I got room to grow and learn. I don't know everything. I can learn from somebody, from the custodian. I can learn from the garbage man. I can learn from folks who have, jobs that are laborer jobs. Just because I'm a professor and I have a mental job where I got to use my brain constantly, doesn't mean that I'm smarter. Okay. Um, so we have to really unpack verse 19. But you, O Lord, do not be far off. O you, my help, come quickly to my aid. Deliver my soul from the sword, my precious life from the power of the beasts. Save I from the mouth of the beasts, and you have rescued I from the horns of the beasts. Okay, this is exclamation mark. So verse 19, 20, and 21 is bam. It's hitting. The Most High, do not be far off. For the Most High, quickly to my strength and my aid. Deliver my life from the sword, from the guns, from the bullets, from all the weaponry. My precious life from the power of the beasts! Exclamation mark. Save I from the mouth of the beasts. The Most High have rescued I from the horns of the beasts. And the beast can be anything that is trying to down press you or oppress you. So in verse 22, David now speaks that I will tell of your name, Jehovah Jireh, to my brothers and sisters, because you know the Bible was written to perpetuate supremacy, okay, and male supremacy. The patriarch is deep in the Bible. Patriarch meaning father, son. You know, that is what's perpetuated. Him, he. And Zion is referred to as a female. So, and then the Blessed Mother who came after Jesus was crucified, died, buried, and was risen, she was there. Mary Magdalene was there to see him. So that Blessed Mother is signified in that moment. And we forget that the female energy is part of the Godhead. That female energy is part of the Godhead. So when we look at God, Lord, Jehovah Jireh, Jesus, there is a female in there, okay? Not just male, but also female. That's why we speak of God as the Alpha and the Omega, the King and the Queen, the beginning without end, because love cannot end. They tried to kill God, but they couldn't. God lives. God lives because I live. God lives. Even when I am physically not here to give, glory to the Lord, it's still the next generation coming is going to be still doing that. Okay? So when we look at verse 22, David is talking about, I will tell of the name of the Most High to my brothers and sisters. In the midst of the congregation or the assembly, I will give Isis to the Most High. I will shout for joy and I will glorify the Most High with songs. In verse 23, you who fear the Lord, praise him. So that's why people don't chant songs to the Most High. They're chanting a different song to each other. Okay? Because remember, Satan wanted the praise. He saw everyone chanting songs of glory to the Most High, and he's like, whoa. I want this. So that's where the music industry comes in. Satan encroached himself in there. Like, I'm going to be, I'm going to sin, and this is what I'm going to sin about. I'm going to sin about you love me and I love you and you're going to be mine and all this, like Peter Tosh says. Peter Tosh says they accept those kind of songs because it's about loving you and what I'm gonna bump up on you and do this and do that. Is they love, but when you're chanting songs to the Most High, nobody wants to hear that, right? So I'm gonna chant songs to the Most High. All right, that's what's gonna happen. We're not gonna put on making love music. We're gonna put on some chanting songs to the Most High music, and we're going to make love with that music. So let's go into what David is talking about. He's going to tell of the Most High's name to his brothers and his sisters. In the midst of the assembly, he's going to chant songs of glory to the Most High. And then in verse 23, he specifically speaks of all of you who fear the Most High. If you fear God, you better open your mouth and chant songs of adulation and glory to the Most High. Okay? Don't talk to me about, I can't sing, I don't know how to keep a tune. Yes, you can. Open your mouth and chant. You'll be surprised of your voice. I heard some folks just, chanting, and they were, I was like, what? They got a voice, and they don't even realize it themselves. It's like, whoa, your relationship with the Most High needs to be tighter, because once it's tighter, you're going to know your gifts. You got a gift of song. So anyway, David is speaking specifically about fearing the Most High and chanting Isis, chanting songs to the Most High. All the offspring of Jacob is going to glorify the Most High and stand in awe of the Most High. All the offspring of Israel, of I. Okay? In verse 24, for the Most High has not despised or abhorred the affliction of the afflicted. Okay? The Most High doesn't despise or abhor the affliction of the afflicted. And the Most High has not hidden the Most High's face from the afflicted. But the Most High has heard when the afflicted cries to the Most High. So that's why you have to cry to the Most High. Go into your prayer closet and weep and weep and weep to the Most High, as David did in this psalm. He cried and was rescued. Okay? He's crying day and night. He can't rest. But in verse 5, to the Most High, the fathers and mothers in our ancestors cried and they were rescued. And in the Most High, they trusted, our ancestors trusted and were not put to shame. So we have to trust the Most High, and we will not be put to shame. Okay? The Most High has not hidden the Most High's face from the one who fears the Most High. Only has heard when that one cries to the Most High. So that's why the face of the Most High, I am able to see the face of the Most High. Some people say you have to die to see God. No, you do not. I see the Most High's face. I see the Most High's face, and I fear the Most High. That's why I don't argue with folks anymore. I'm not going to be strife. If somebody wants to physically fight me, I'm just going to stand there. Because my defense is the Most High. I'm not defensive. My speech is truth, and I speak the truth. And sometimes people don't want to hear that because it's too close to home, and they don't want to hear the truth. I love to hear the truth. Tell me about myself. Tell me what you see. I want to know. Okay. So the afflicted shall eat and be satisfied. Those who seek the Most High shall give songs of glory to the Most High. And may one's hearts live for all time to come. Okay, so this is what is going to happen to the afflicted. They're going to eat and be satisfied. They're going to, those who actually seek the Most High and seek the Most High in songs are going to be the ones whose hearts are going to live for all time to come. exclamation mark. In verse 27, this is Psalm 22, verse 27, all the ends of the earth shall remember and turn to the Most High, and all the families of the nations shall worship before the Most High. So David is like, it's okay, people mocking you, they jealous of you, they doing this, but guess what? All the ends of the earth is going to remember, and they're going to turn to the Most High. They're going to remember this almighty Savior, and all the families of the nations, they're going to adulate, they're going to worship the Most High. And kingships and queenships all belong to the Most High. And for the Most High rules over the nations. Okay? In verse 29, 30, and 31, this is toward the end. This is the final, 3 verses. All the prosperous of the earth eat and worship. Before him shall bow all who go down to the dust, even the one who could not keep himself alive. So let's unpack that real quick. All the prosperous of the earth eat and worship. Before him shall bow all who go down to the dust. Even the one who could not keep himself alive is going to go down to the dust. And verse 30, posterity shall serve him. It shall be told of the Lord to the coming generation. And what did I just speak of? The next generation are going to know. The ends of the earth shall remember and turn to the Most High. And all the families are going to be sitting down at the table, having dinner and talking about their day and fellowshipping about the Most High. This is what I see happening. At 6 o'clock at my house, it's dinner time. You can come and stop by 6 o'clock. We sit at the table together as a family and have dinner. We talk among each other. We talk about, testify. Oh, God did this for me today. Oh my goodness, let me testify, girl. What happened today? And that's what we're going to sit at the table at 6 o'clock and do. And then we clean up the kitchen together. Not one person does the dishes. We all are collective together doing it. Wiping the table, sweeping the floor, mopping the floor. So the kitchen is clean and nice for breakfast in the next day. So this is what is going to happen in this next coming generation. And this is what I'm building towards. So posterity shall serve him. And when we look at posterity, it's all future generations of people. So we're looking at the future, okay? The future generations. It shall be told of the Most High to the coming generation. And they shall come and proclaim the Most High's righteousness to a people yet unborn, that the Most High has done this wonderful, amazing work. So that is our psalm for today. 54 minutes unpacking Psalm 22. 54 minutes unpacking that psalm. Beautiful, powerful. I love it. The psalm today, 22. Why have you forsaken I and I? And in looking at the word of the day today, it's joy. You cannot serve the living God being sad and depressed. Okay? You serve the living God, the living Jah, with joy. And that's our word today. May the word of the day today be acceptable in the sight of the Most High, and the meditation of my heart of this word, joy. Even during life's darker moments, the light of joy glows in I and I heart. So this is the word today. Take out your dailyword.com, your little booklets, and let's go to today, Tuesday, March 19th. My indwelling joy transcends time and circumstance. Even during life's inevitable low points, joy is part of me. So even when I'm low and I'm sad, my mom's in the hospital, I'm sad, my son passed away, all this stuff, Family members are disconnected, people are strifing and jealous and envy, all this stuff is going on. I am going to keep joy as part of my life. When I grieve the loss of people who have been dear to me, my heart is lifted by thoughts of loving moments we have shared. These memories are mine for all time. Nobody can take them away. And I trust that these memories will remain with my dear ones in their ongoing journey. Like a votive candle burning in a sanctuary, joy is a constant, quiet reminder of God's presence. Knowing I am one in God with everyone I have loved helps me, strengthens me to perceive the light of joy glowing more and more brilliantly. Although I may sometimes feel frustration or sadness as circumstances change, people who once called you loving name, now they calling someone else. I have faith those feelings will pass, right? Sadness is going to pass. Frustration is going to pass. Nothing can extinguish the light of joy in my heart. So choose joy. Choose joy. That's what I speak today. Choose joy. And this word of the day, joy, is supported by Psalm 30, verse 5. Weeping may linger for the night. I love this one. Weeping may linger for a night, but joy comes with the rise. So blessed rise, everyone. We are living and serving the living Most High. We are not mourning, grieving, sad, depressed, suicidal thoughts. We are joyful. We choose joy. And in the verse today, this is really the verse today and the word today is similar. So the verse today, but the fruit of the righteousness, the fruit of righteousness. So righteousness, think of it as a tree, and it has these fruits growing from it. These fruits are love, joy, as the word of the day speaks, love. It speaks of peace, but I don't use peace. Peace is the diploma you get in the graveyard, rest in peace. And I don't want peace, I want justice. So I talk about love instead of peace. I don't want peace in the Middle East, I want love in the Middle East. If there was love in the Middle East, there wouldn't be no war, right? But because it's peace, it's death. And that's the diploma you get in the graveyard. Rest in peace, R.I.P. I don't use that. So the Middle East that's warring, Israel, Gaza, and all of this, find love, seek for love, lead with love, and then you may have justice. Forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such things there is no law. This is from Galatians chapter 5, verse 22 to 23. Galatians is talking about the fruit of the Spirit. And what is the Spirit? The Spirit is righteousness. What is righteousness? It is love, joy, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against such things there is no law. And there is no law when it comes to love, right? But guess what's happening? The world has a law when it comes to love. If you love someone and you want to marry them, the world, the law says you can't marry that person. Oh, I'm at an hour. You can't marry that person because of X, Y, and Z. So in the Most High's realm, love, there is no law for love. You love. There is no law for joy. You're joyful. Forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. There's no law against that. So that is the verse today. Galatians chapter 5, verse 22 to 23. I love it. Galatians talks about the fruit of the Spirit. And what is the Spirit? Righteousness. Thank you so much for joining Chant a Psalm today. We are at an hour, and I'm so glad to be here. Thank God, thank the Most High for life and living. Everyone have a blessed day, and remember, choose joy. Choose joy.